Yo, what's going on, people? Back again. Raps on TV. Tuesday night boxing. It's a big week, fight week. We're really looking forward to this episode. Z to join in. Hay fever's killing me right now, man. My eyes are just all watered up and blurry. But that ain't gonna stop me from doing the show today. So we're here. We're here. It's that time. Let's be fair, man. Let's call it as it is. It's that time. Fight week. Billy Joe Saunders taking on Saunders Canelo Alvarez. And boy, not only has the mind game started already, the politics have started already. So we went from disagreements on the fans, not only to disagreements on the fans, we went from the judges, you know, where they're from. And now what do we have? We have a ring. We have an issue with a ring. For those of you that may be catching up, Billy Joe Saunders' dad has today come out and said that the fight is called off because of the size of the ring. Apparently, it was due to be an 18-foot. They've somehow they want a 24-foot ring. We're nowhere in between. I've just been on Twitter. It looks like it was supposed to be a face-off today. That hasn't taken place. But when it's all said and done, and we're going to get into this today. Looking forward for people that are going to be tuning in. We want to hear your comments. We want to hear your phone calls. We want to hear it all today because it's a big fight week. I think this is the business of the A side. You know, you've got to just say it as it is. The A side that gets to dictate what typically happens, and that's what Canelo is doing. And I think on paper, you know, the complaints about the ring size are not probably breaking any rules. And if you're not breaking any rules, it's the name of the game. So yeah, looking forward to chopping it up today. Here with the man Sam. What's going on, bro?
Well, go on, bro. I'm all good, man. Looking forward to getting into the show finally. Like, I've been really looking forward to it. It's been a long bank holiday weekend, reflecting on this weekend's action. But yeah, man, I'm quite shocked at what's going on this week, man. Is it the theme of the mind games? It's 2021, the theme of the mind games, man.
Big time. Blatantly the theme of the mind games. I mean, you spoke there about the theme of the mind games, and just waiting to get Zane in. I mean, yeah, we saw Bivol versus Richards on the weekend. That was a good fight. We saw Taylor Jonas. That was a good fight. Congratulations to Sonny Showtime Edwards. He picked up the IBF strap in. To be fair, was a great performance. I think it was a masterful performance. Like, he really showed the levels. Yeah. And then we had Ruiz versus Arreola, which was kind of flattered to deceive, but at the same time, you know, there was a bit of entertainment. Ruiz got put down in the second round, but let's focus on the main thing: Saunders versus Canelo. I mean, as I said, this has come out today that there's issues around the ring size. What do you think? Do you think Billy Joe Saunders might have taken on more than he can chew with this fight?
I think the pressure's getting to it. Must be, because why is he always he's blaming everyone else but himself? I feel like he's getting his excuses in early for his loss.
Yeah.
And I thought he would have been cool, calm, collected, looking like he's ready to do the business, I think. I don't know if his dad's helping situations, but I think them not slamming Eddie Hearn isn't doing him any favours. I just don't think it's just a good look for him. It's looking very cheap and distasteful. And it's kind of like one of those situations where if anyone ever wondered why Billy Joe gets so much flack and stick and whatnot, he's giving them a reason no longer to doubt that. You knew you were B-sides. Canelo is a bigger guy than you. You should realize that you have the opportunity to become the A. Like my Uncle Benga always says to me when he was talking about, when he always references Floyd Mayweather when he was talking about when he fought Arturo Gatti and whatnot and how he's the A side and B side. Like, listen, get the business done. You can start demanding, chatting, whatever you want to chat. Be the guy you want to be. But right now, just needs to focus, man. Don't get distracted.
Exactly, and a great comment, guys. They're getting kicked off at them straight away. We got Yun Mark. Yun Mark is asking us to tell me the ring size of Canelo versus Smith. Truth be told, I don't know, but I think it's fair to say, did it really matter? Because I think whatever Smith, let's say, tried, he wasn't necessarily trying to be evasive, and even where he fought with a high guard, Canelo was just targeting his arm. So I didn't think it mattered. But yeah, it would be good to know what happened there. I think this has caused a lot of controversy. From my understanding, it's within the range of the rules for the Texas state. When it comes to boxing, it could be as low as 16 feet, and I think as high as 24 feet. So yeah, apparently this is not anything new. We've got Talk to BUJ. That's an interesting name, but yeah, so it's not the first thing BGS has been raising concerns about, though. You also had issues with the nationalities of the judges changing. Agreed. And I think that's a great point there. Talk to BUJ. Yeah, it's not just this. As I stated, he spoke about the additional fines. I think even in this week we've had complaints around the visas. So yeah, Eddie Hearn spoke about it. Them trying to create this us versus the world mentality. Complaining about Hearn's promotion of him. I think it's a long list that just seems to keep adding up. And he said, look, to be honest, he knows the odds are hugely stacked against him. So he knows whatever advantage he can get. That's true. He does need whichever advantages, but it's not the A side. So if he doesn't get those advantages, you've got to just swallow it. This is what happens in boxing a lot of the times. But for the guys watching on, tuning in for the first time, do me a big, big favor. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, the notification bell. Keep joining. We want to hear more comments from you guys. We want to hear what the boxing public are thinking. I feel like Saunders is about to embarrass himself because there's no way he can walk away from this fight, bro. I mean, think about the legalities. I mean, talk to me what you think about the contract, bro.
Jesus Christ. If that happens, Eddie Hearn is going to relinquish all duties with Billy Joe. You're stopping him from making possibly one of the biggest bags of the year outside of Fury Joshua, and really solidify his legacy in the American market, which he's had a lot of criticism of kind of getting involved in. And he's not really doing the Brits any favors. He's not making us look any good. He's making us look kind of not amateurish, but also very kind of prima donna-ish in terms of how we're behaving. Look, you are the B-side. You should follow yourself as the B-side. You need to carry yourself in a way that you are going to be a champion, and also not be respectful, because that's not really Billy Joe's brand, but also show your confidence. This does not show me confidence. It's showing me weakness. Why is your dad coming out doing the talking for you? Same thing you used to criticize Eubank for.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point there. I mean, he was another person that's on our agenda today, Eubank Jr. in this 10K bet. He's put a picture out of his bet being placed today. He might lose that money if the fight doesn't take place, but yeah, for me, I definitely think this fight will take place. Contractually, again, we're going to talk about the A sides. For those of you that have been watching sport for a long time, if you're coming into this in the B side, certain things you might take as being a given. If you don't ask for it specifically in the contract, it might not fall in your favor. And I think a lot of fighters at the highest level, this is how they operate. I always think back to the Mayweather and the 24/7 or, the production shows that he would do behind the scenes. He would always make sure that the film crew kind of went when it was intervening with the fighters' camp. So these are just little things that you can do. You pull little strings because, again, you're like, well, we don't need to inform you. And if it's not stated in the contract, this is where legalities or politics play its head. So, yeah, for me, I think this is going to be really interesting this week, especially if we get confirmation that Saunders doesn't turn up to today's face-off. It's definitely going to bring more attention to it. But, yeah, going out to the comments, we've got Comrade Boxing. Big yourself up, Comrade Boxing. Love that you're supporting and dropping the comments into the show. He's saying it's disrespectful by BGS, but I like that he actually comes to win and not bows down in gratitude for getting the Canelo fight that everyone wants. And I hear you, Comrade, but respectfully, I think, I don't know, you're right, he's not bowed down, but I just don't know if some of the complaints he's making are warranted. I just feel like, complaining about the amount of fans that are there. Again, the ring size. I saw a screenshot. I'm going to try and find it. But I saw a screenshot of the Texas rule books, and again, it states the range that a ring can be. So if you're saying you wanted 24 foot and you didn't ask her for a 24-foot ring, then you probably were never going to get that, and that should have been, in the contract terms, that should have been your opportunity. But I definitely what you. Yes, and then we've got another talk to BJ's. He says also BGS uses a lot of lateral movement in the ring. Boxing from the outside, his best performance versus David Lemieux was in a ring that looked huge to me. Yeah, that's a good point, because I've actually watched that fight and there's a lot of space. There's a lot of white canvas on the floor. So yeah, it's gonna be very interesting. I mean, bro, in terms of this fight, Do you think? Now I want to ask you a question. Billy Joe Saunders has refused to do any media. Do you think Eddie Hearn can take the blame for that?
Do you know what? Nah, it's him. It's him. Like, bro, if you're that confident, you've got the opportunity here to put yourself on such a huge global stage. Even if you don't, even if you come up short against Canelo, which isn't exactly a bad thing.
Yeah.
You have the opportunity to really showcase yourself amongst so many other fighters. So many people can call you out, and you can get more big money fights from this. And he's not seeming to get. He's been very short-sighted, I feel, and I feel he's been very kind of. I think it's a bit harsh. I'm an Eddie Hearn fan. I'm not the biggest Eddie Hearn guy, but I just think it's a bit unfair what you guys are giving him. You told him to deliver you a big money fight. He's delivered it to you in the biggest fashion possible. And not that he's being ungrateful, but it's like these little things you're picking at is actually telltale signs. If this is mind games, the mind games wouldn't. I don't think it will work with Canelo, man. I just feel that, Canelo would always get the better treatment or be seen to be getting the better treatment because bigger earner, bigger client, and obviously the A side. But Eddie Hearn shouldn't get any stick.
Yeah. No, I mean, again, I agree. I think it's usually quite easy to target Eddie Hearn, when you think about it, because this whole week we've had Fury coming out do videos by himself. We've seen him do videos with Billy Joe Saunders as well. And for me, I'm like, I'm not sure what they really want Eddie to do. If you don't do media, for example, especially with the US side, you're not going out there. Fair enough, he's not going to go to the Latin media because maybe they might expect him to speak Spanish. But my point is, if you're not going out there and doing any sort of the mainstream media, you can't really turn around and say, oh, he's not promoting me in the right way, because they're going to give you the platform. And that's not even respectfully Eddie Hearn's job. They've got a media team that are going to set that up, make the arrangements and then arrange for you to drop into these calls, interviews with journalists. And I don't know. It's a mad one, but I do want to say, going back over the years, we saw Tyson Fury take on Klitschko. There were some underhanded tactics, again, by the A side being played out. We talk about specifically the canvas in the ring and the, not necessarily the padding, but the sponge layout, the gloves. Do you think these tactics from Canelo, though, kind of showed that he's a little bit worried about Billy Joe Saunders?
Possibly, but I don't think you can read too much into it. I think it's a case that I just think it's a case you just need to crack on with it. Like Canelo, if he's worried, I think this guy's an ultimate professional. He's being in there with the biggest and the baddest. I don't think of course, they'll try and use use as much as they can within their advantage, like the ring size and whatnot. But ultimately, Canelo's on smoke. He's ready for it. I don't think that's him being worried. But some could see it as, he is worried because he knows the kind of threat Billy has. He's a bit slippery. He knows how to defend. He knows how to move. Not Mayweather-esque, but he's got not a similar defensive style, but somewhat one that could cause him problems.
Yeah, no, I hear that. And just going back to the comments, I'm going to say, you're going to have to tell me if I'm pronouncing it right. Talk to Budge or BUJ. But he's saying, I reckon there's too much money in this fight for BGS to pass it up, though. He's just throwing his toys out the prime. LOL, the payday is too crazy. I think, again, exactly, the payday, not even just the payday. Think about the lawsuit. The legal fees he's going to have to pay because, Canelo wants that belt. And if you just pull out of the fight because of a reason that's not stated in the contract, I mean, what leg do you really have to stand on? So I think, the legalities is going to be a huge cost, plus the payout that he's missing. And I thought it was a bit funny from his dad saying, cancel this, cancel that. I just thought, you can't really ask people to do that. But Comrade Boxing is saying, no way he drops out. I think it's more or less a given. I think it's caused a lot of furore today, and I think it's good. People are definitely talking about the fight. Probably for Eddie Hearn, he's loving it because no one's going to ask him about Tyson Fury and Joshua this week. Everyone's going to be asking him about Canelo Saunders. But no way he drops out. And then we got IA saying, imagine Billy loses. His antics might have ramifications in the future. So, IA, are you saying that as in you think Billy Joe's got a good chance of winning? Love to hear more from you in your comments. We'll be sure to put the number out there. We're about to bring in long-time friend of the show. It's been a minute since we've seen him, but we always love his comments, and he's a big Canelo fan. and I'm looking forward to hearing what he's got to say about Canelo. Zayn, man, like
How you
Zayn.
doing, guys? How you doing, lads? You alright?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Good to see you, man. Long time.
Yeah, I know, man. How's things? Everything alright?
All good, man. Sam dropped out, but so I think he'll be back in. Yes, bro. How you been? Talk to me, man.
Yeah, not too bad, man. I'm just a bit like
Bro,
nervous about this fight, you know.
Can you turn your camera to the side, as cool?
You turn it to the side.
Yeah, just so that we get.
Oh, hold on 1 second.
You might need to unlock it. Yeah, there we go. That's much better.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, like literally, I can't wait for this Canelo fight. But I'm hearing a lot of stipulations going on in the background. You know, the ring, obviously, the ring size that's the main sort of issue here. I do get where Billy Joe Saunders is coming from, you know, but at the same time, you know, Canelo earned that spot to be there and to dictate what terms he wants to fight on. You get what I'm saying? For me, it's like you have to beat the man to earn that right.
Yeah.
And with Billy Joe Saunders, there's a lot more credible opponents that deserve that Canelo fight, in my opinion.
Okay. Like who? Just give me one name.
Like who?
Yeah, one name.
I'd say a Jamal Charlo, maybe a David Benavidez, you know, Caleb Plant. You know, at the same time, I don't know who has Billy Joe Saunders fought at that level to show me that he's ready and prepared for Canelo. I know he's got the style to trouble him, but who has he really been tested against?
Yeah, no, I mean, that's a great question. We'll leave that out to the audience to hopefully answer. Sam, or let me ask you, who do you think, who's Billy Saunders' biggest test? Who's he proven himself against?
Lemieux, that's it.
Yeah.
Eubank, maybe.
I mean, yeah, Andy Lee. Yeah.
No one else really.
Yeah. No, and I think the Andy Lee win was a win. I think it was telling that Andy Lee kind of retired not pretty much soon after that. So, yeah, no, I think that's a great point. I'm just gonna go to the comments that we had. Comrade Boxer saying no way he drops out. IA, well, big up IA. I forgot to welcome you into the chat, and he's saying nah, he's getting smoked. But why would you put up with Billy after this week? I agree, and funny you say that. You know, I think even Charlo came up last night on his Instagram live, was kind of saying Billy's PUSSY, and Canelo's just saying he's scared. So I think that's the other thing Billy's got to take into advantage, that he's on overseas territory. They're not going to take well to this type of, when I say behavior, they're going to look at you and think like you're full of excuses. We don't know you really. We don't know who you fought. I think it's fair to say. And you're coming over and accusations. And it's like here, like Comrade Boxing is saying, Canelo is will to do everything to win. So does BGS, and I think that's a fair point for Billy Joe Saunders. I'm sure he's doing his best. He's trained as hard as he could. He's probably in the best shape that he's been in for a while. We're probably going to see the best Billy Joe Saunders we've ever seen. I just wonder mentally, like, has he bitten off more than he can chew?
100%. Like Kojo, I just don't want this fight to get scrapped now. We're so close, you know. And it's like this sort of thing where the ring size, the judges, all of that should have been sorted in the contract, you know.
Yeah.
So that both guys can focus on the task at hand, because obviously it's a hard fight for both of them. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
but guys, as well as being a boxing show, we turned into an agony art show. We've got a guy, King Dale Clark. Guys, I need advice. White man, age 28, UK. Last few weeks, I've been chatting to a black Nigerian woman. I like her a lot, but my friends are against mixed race dating and they're threatening to leave me. What should I do? Basically, what should I do? King Dale Clark, if your friends are giving you the good stuff, then boy, maybe you've got a good question. You've got a decision to make. But yeah, this is a boxing channel. If you're looking for advice, relationship advice, go and seek out ZZ Mills. Players and ballers, he says BGS is a Facio. He's pooping already. So that's fair to say people think he's scared. I mean, do you think this is behavior of somebody that is scared And here we got Conrad Boxing. Get new friends. Exactly, Conrad. Big up yourself.
Mm.
Big up yourself.
You know what it is? I think he's prepared, you know, but I just feel that he wants a even fight. But at the same time, he's making a lot of excuses. Like the first excuse was like basically the judges. The judges aren't Mexican; they're American, and they're not from England. So I don't get where he's saying that the judges will be biased. They're American judges. There's no Mexican or British judge. So that shouldn't even be a problem, you know, where if there was a Mexican judge, you'd kind of understand where he's coming from. You get what I'm saying? Another thing is he's blaming Eddie Hearn a lot for everything he's done. Like he's saying he's siding with Canelo, but you've got the chance, you know. Eddie Hearn delivered the shot to you, you know, where Frank Warren wasn't getting you that Canelo fight. You've got your fight now. So make the most of it. His plan was to just get you that opportunity, and he's got that. So with them slagging him off, it's not really gonna sit well with Eddie Hearn as his promoter, you know. I know he may be, you know, more lenient towards Canelo because Canelo's the cash cow, but at the same time he's done what he's meant to do, which was deliver Billy Joe Saunders Canelo. Do you get what I'm saying? So that's where I stand with it.
No, I think it's a fair point. And again, all this kind of talk, it's just bringing the wrong kind of attention to his career. Because again, you know, like IA said, you know, I think if he will lose. He loses this fight. What's they going to say about him? It's just going to be the string of excuses. It's like you weren't even going into this fight to give it you all. You could argue. I mean, even the thing about the visas and you know the public coming over. You know, the British public. I don't know really how to take that because I do say that you know, you got to ask yourself like on a deeper level. Like it's the pandemic. If people can't get in there, if people can't get into the country, or there's different types of stipulations. What's Eddie Hearn supposed to do? So yeah, it's definitely a weird one. And yeah, what can you do? It's one of those things we have to see. But moving on, we got a couple of comments in the chat. So it's like King Dale Clark. Listen to if you're a subscriber of the channel, don't apologize. We can always use this platform to try and give you some advice. But yeah, like I think, like Conrad Boxing said, find some new friends. You love who you love, as they say. But talk to says Lemieux and Eubank Jr. aside. From that, I think BJS has a fairly subpar resume, to be fair. He's looked really bad against guys he should have walked over. I think, again, that's a fair comment, you know. When he has kind of like tried, you know, he's fought in certain fights. Even Billy Joe Saunders said it himself in a recent interview. He said, if you're judging him, Canelo off his last two fights and Billy Joe off his fight against Martin Murray, then 1,000,000% you're going to back Canelo. But he's saying that's not going to be the same fighter. But we don't know that. So
no, do you know what, bro? Do you know what? He might be able to like he likes it when the lights are on him. Billy Joe performs when the lights are on him and people stick it on. He's pressured. Like even Fury was back in it saying like there's sometimes you see Fury have some subpar performances and then all of a sudden you see him, you know, do what he needs to do. So it's you know it's really interesting to see. That's why I'm actually looking forward to it because I know Billy Joe can turn it up. So yeah, man.
My question to you, Sam, though, do you think like the ring size makes a big difference?
For his kind of game, yeah, because the way he likes to move, he's so slippery and awkward. And I think someone like Canelo who likes to break down and decompose his opponents, and how he likes to get them on the ropes and cut off the ring, I do think that would a bigger ring would definitely favor Billy Joe in the way he could just slip around and move around. But again. You got to ask yourself, I don't think it's a promoter's issue. I think it's Billy Joe's legal representatives and the people like the coaches to be able to insist that during a contract. I mean, there's multiple of exchanges and things that you put in place in contract. So you could have easily said, you have to have a ring of this size. You have to have all of this. So if anything, these guys kicking up a fuss about all of this just makes you really realize that these guys haven't got the best team around them and they're not the most professional and shrewd people when it comes to these things, you know? So it's not Eddie Hearn problem, it's theirs.
Yeah. And to that point, I think The ring size, definitely. I think you're right, Sam. I think the ring size for Billy Joe Saunders, the way he wants to fight, you speak about the Lemieux performance, especially where he was overseas and maybe viewed as being the not necessarily the underdog, but again, like you could see the ring size, and maybe they asked for it, but that was in his favor. Maybe Canada has some different rules, but yeah, I definitely think for Billy Joe Saunders, he's going to want as bit larger ring as he can get, because that's what sees him in the fight, because I do think, and I was saying to somebody, I think Billy Joe Saunders will potentially put up a good fight. I think, he'll be able to ride a lot of the shots as well. And I think when you talk about a small ring, you talk about, being able to cut off the ring, which Canelo would like to do, and not just landing with the jab, just punching his body like he did with Smith. How many times just punching his body? And then you saw the shape and the bruising on his arm. So, I definitely think that's going to play its part in there. So going to go back some comments. I think I might have missed some, so I'm going to try and go back up. Talk Bruce just says, I don't think BJS is scared, though. I think he's looking for built-in excuses when the inevitable happens, so at least softens the blow of the loss. Yeah, I do think that's a fair comment. And we've got Kingdale Clark. He's back. He's got boxing questions. What do you guys think of the late, great Edwin Valero? Yeah, I mean, hard to speak about him. Funny enough, we've had a case of a guy called Felix Verdejo this week, who's also seems to be looking at a bit of prison time after his activities this weekend. Very shocking and sad news that he basically killed one of his girlfriends. Moving on to another comment, unprofessional studies. Who are the judges exactly? I believe that's still to be finalized. I think that's going to be confirmed this week. And again, once confirmed, we understand that there will not be a British judge, which, to be fair on Canelo, on Billy Joe, I think arguably you would want that. It doesn't mean it's going to see you get the victory, but you would want that, because I think the history of Canelo, and I think no one can kind of deny this, is that one judge is always on his side. You look back to the main fight, it's clear as day. You look at the first Triple G fight, it's clear as day. So one of the judges is in Canelo's corner. I think that goes without saying. But look, he's got to go in there and do the job. And that's all he can do. And yeah, let's see what it goes. We've got a comment here from El Emirati. He's saying ring size does make a difference. Agree with you there. Small one doesn't allow BGS to move. Exactly. And then IA is saying Billy, not Fury, and Canelo, not Vlad, which is something Billy needs to understand. Great point there. Guys, loving the comments in the chat. I think Saunders' team, this is another one from Kingdale Clark. I think Saunders' team giving Canelo a full sense of security, pretending they want a bigger ring to run when in fact he'll take the fight to Canelo. Interesting. Something like that. And guys, check this out. DAZN released something today. It's their interview, Gareth A. Davis and Canelo. Canelo, Billy Joe Saunders. And Billy Joe Saunders talks about when he was fighting for an Olympic trials. I know it's different levels. I know, I get it. But I just want to use that as an example to his point. And he talks about him coming up against a Russian, and like for the first two rounds, he was down and he couldn't find an answer for this guy. And then all of a sudden he said for the third round, he said, I'm just going to steam that guy. And he said by the third round, he steamed him. He caught up to like 17-5 when by the end of the second round, he was like 14-2 down. So to 17-15, he caught up. And then he said in the fourth round, he took the guy out. So maybe what Kingdale's saying there might be a valid point. He's trying to bluff to him, make him think that he's upset. He's upsetting. Takes fight to him. Who knows? We're going to go out to the callers soon. Before we do that, though, Zayn, I've got to come to you first. It's big fight week. What do you think Canelo will, when I say look like, on the scales? Do you think when it comes to like the weigh-in, we do get Canelo Saunders fight, do you think that he's going to be bang on the money for weight-wise?
Personally, I think he's always been in shape, in and out of camp. So he lives that athlete's lifestyle. I think, with someone like Billy Joe Saunders, it's a different story. But I think that Canelo is going to be well prepared, and he knows what Billy Joe Saunders brings to the table. I mean, he's seen a style similar to Billy Joe Saunders with Erislandy Lara, Floyd Mayweather Jr., Austin Trout. So he hasn't. It's not like Billy Joe Saunders has got something he hasn't seen before. You know, he's definitely got that experience as well, but he's got to work on his weaknesses, and I hope he's done that just training camp, because we can see what sort of trouble that boxers give him, you know, in the past.
No,
I think he'll be ready for it, man.
Yeah, no, great points there. So listen, guys, I'm gonna go to a couple of more comments and then open the lines. We got a comment here from Josh Jones. He's asking for our fight predictions and method of victory. We will do that in a bit, Josh. So don't worry, we'll do that. We haven't even had a chance to chop up last weekend's fights, but we'll get to that. King Dale, do what you got to do. Her dad is overprotective. Do what you got to do. But yeah, so guys, listen, I'm going to move on to the phone lines. Moving on, opening the lines to our anonymous caller of the week. Hello, I believe it is Uncle Boxing.
Hey, how you doing, guys?
We're doing good. How are you?
Good.
As usual. Where have you been for the last few weeks?
Last week we was here. Last week. Where were you?
Okay. I didn't get the alert.
You subscribe. You need to subscribe to the YouTube channel, then you'll get all the notifications.
Okay.
Hit that bell.
Okay, I'll get that done.
Yeah.
Guys, great chat. You're discussing a lot of things, but all I think I would simply say is that if Billy Joe Saunders walks away from this fight, then he's an idiot. You know, you've quoted earlier what I've always said about Floyd Mayweather when he was the B side with Oscar De La Hoya and Arturo Gatti.
Yeah.
But we all saw what happened. He beat them and he became the A side, and he generated over about $1.6, $1.7 million in pay-per-view revenues for his fights. Saunders have an opportunity to change his life for him, his family, and generations. It's like the opportunity to win the lottery. Well, you know, he's not going to.
Yeah.
But you know, and you know, I mean, the whole thing, you know, I don't want to repeat what other people say. It's just so stupid and juvenile. You know, when you're the B side, know you're the B side. Don't care whether it's even a 15-foot or 16-foot ring. Go in there, win the fight. That should be your mentality.
Yeah.
Back in the day, my friend Lloyd Hunnigan in 1986 did not give a damn. He was facing another hero of mine, the great Don Curry. Nobody thought Hunnigan could win. Those of us in the know knew that if he was an ordinary world champion, Lloyd would definitely win. But he went in there and ripped the title off Don Curry. I think Saunders and his team trying to see if they can unsettle Canelo, but Canelo is not the kind of guy you're going to unsettle. I've had the pleasure of watching Canelo live the first time in 2012 when he beat Shane Mosley. I was in Las Vegas at the MGM Grand. I spent the whole week there, and I was able to observe these guys. You know, Canelo is better than he's ever been. I don't think anybody can beat him. People talking about styles. Saunders has got the style to trouble Canelo. It doesn't. People should stop this rubbish about trying to compare Saunders to Mayweather. He's not Mayweather.
Yeah.
And you know something else? We're talking about southpaw, slick southpaws. Every southpaw that Canelo's fought, slick ones, he's beaten.
Yeah.
Okay? You know, I mean, I'm going to make, you haven't asked me, but I'm going to give you my prediction now.
Yeah.
He's going to do to Billy Joe Saunders what Julio Cesar Chavez did to another hero of mine, El Chapo, Edwin Navarro. And you know, because I in fact, before coming on, I listened to an interview on this on YouTube, the recording, and also are very calm and composed. They're not ruffled at all by what Billy Joe Saunders and Singh. If anything, you know, if Billy Joe actually does not turn up to fight, he's going to be bankrupt. He'll be stripped off his title. He'll be bankrupt when they sue him to his own. Canelo, Eddie Hearn, everybody sues him. If someone said, I think Canelo said, this is not his only excuse. They said they've been making so many, they've complained about Eddie Hearn.
Yeah.
Eddie Hearn's fault that there's a pandemic.
Exactly.
They've complained about the gloves. They've complained about Canelo's diet in terms of the juicy steaks. They've complained about everything.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm exasperated.
Yeah, no, we definitely hear you, Uncle. Listen, I do want to get your thoughts though on the Chisora Parker fight. Thought there was a bit of controversy in the decision, but what were your thoughts on the fight overall?
I scored the fight to Chisora. Yeah, I thought Chisora deserved the verdict, but Chisora as well does not help himself because he did a lot of excellence, put on a lot of excellent pressure, great body punches, but he could have made some of those body punches with shots to the head. Because while body shots are effective, for some reason, judges actually like to see more some headshots as well. So, you know, sometimes, even though you're hitting the body, mix it up, go to the body, you know, put someone to the head as well, just for the judges.
Yeah.
I mean, to be disappointed in Joseph Parker because Parker has ability, but I think his issues are mental. I think he really needs to consider whether boxing is for him.
Yeah.
Because Parker is the kind of guy who gets into sticky situations and tough fights with guys who he's more talented than. And and the thing is, you know, he's actually been blessed with a great chin. So other fighters might have got knocked out. But Parker actually has a good chin. So I don't think he did not win the fight.
Yeah.
But you know, the thing is, I'm disappointed at him because I think there could be so much more there.
Yeah. No, absolutely. No, make a good point. So listen, Uncle, we're gonna have to move on to the next caller. But thank you for your support as always. Don't forget to hit that subscription and that notification bell on YouTube, and you'll be sure to catch all the shows as we always go live. Appreciate your support, Uncle Boxing.
Okay.
Take care.
Take care.
And then we have Mr. Daniel. In fact, I might make Daniel and Z go head to head. Daniel, how you doing, sir?
How are we doing? I'm doing very, very well, thank you, Kojo.
Good.
Doing very well.
Good. I mean, I might as well start off. I know you've from years back, you've been a big fan. To be fair, you opened my eyes in terms of the ability that Billy Joe Saunders has. So I had to give him his credit. Although over the last few years, I felt he's let me down. Well, I say he hasn't performed to his highest. But I believe you are backing him in this fight against Canelo. So just give us your thoughts, your reasoning, and how he wins.
That's right, Kojo. I think Billy Joe Saunders is a fighter with massive talent, huge talent, as we spoke about for a long, long time now, a good few years now. And I just think he has what it takes to beat Canelo Alvarez, who is an absolute machine. But I think on Saturday night, I'm going to stick my neck out a little bit, and I'm going to go for Billy Joe to go over there and do a number on him.
All right, and so when you say that, D, and I'm going to let Z ask a question, but do you think it's a win by points or by knockout?
By points.
Okay.
By points. I think the way he'll do the job, it will be so. It'll be such a great job that the judges will have to give him the victory.
Right.
So yeah, I'm going for a Billy Joe Saunders win. Definitely, I think it'll be on point. Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
So what do you make of? I'm gonna let before I let. What do you make of this? The complaints about the ring size and the complaints about the judges, mainly from Billy Joe Saunders' side. Do you think he should just keep quiet and get on with it, or do you think he should be complaining and potentially threatening to pull out the fight?
Well, I don't want him to pull out of the fight. I think no one wants to get mugged off with anything, right? So if they've agreed something and now Golden Boy are trying to like pull a fast one, then that's wrong. Yeah. It is wrong. If they've agreed all this before, and then now they're moving the goalpost, as you know, all of us men, we don't like, in everyday life, boxing to me is just like everyday life. In everyday life, we don't want the fucking goalpost moved. Keep the goalpost where we made a deal, don't change it. Yeah. Don't change it. If he's changed it, that's wrong. Morally, that is wrong. If he's changed it just to suit himself, that's wrong. We made a deal, keep the goalposts where they are, and let's get it on. So, but I don't want him to pull out. I hope they can sort something out. I don't want him to pull out, because like Uncle said about Mayweather against De Hoya years ago and all that, it's a fantastic opportunity for Billy Joe. Being the B-side, it's a fantastic opportunity. But yes, be the B-side, yes, that's cool, but we made up an agreement, don't move the goalpost. You know what I mean? So if they decided this beforehand and now they're moving the goalpost, that's wrong. So he has a right to moan.
Yeah, no,
you
great.
Get what I'm saying?
No, great points. I mean, Z, any questions from yourself? Any comment points?
Basically, I do get where he's coming from. You know, it's totally fair as well. Like, don't move the goalposts. I totally agree. You know, at the same time, this should have been sorted out way before the contracts were signed. You know, it should have been done when the contracts were signed. At the same time, I feel that Canelo is just too good right now. I feel that he will eventually slow Billy Joe Saunders down. You know, I'm not convinced as where I haven't seen him in a real fight being tested. You know, that's the issue here.
Yeah.
I'm back later.
Yeah.
Sorry,
I just want to say, so Canelo is no longer with Golden Boy. He's with the Zone, and he's slightly independent. So I just wanted to make you aware of that. But yeah, in terms of the goalposts, from what we are told, or from what we understand, is that there was no the sizes in terms of the size of the ring that was not defined. I believe the agreement was along the judges, and that's what's changed, which we found out a few weeks back. But in terms of the actual size of the ring, there wasn't a request from Billy Joe Saunders. So I just want to also go to one of the comments. We've got Alan Shaw in the chat. Big yourself up, Alan. He said if it's in the contract as 22 feet, then Billy should walk. If it's not, then they should fight. So I think most people would agree with you, Daniel. I think most people would agree and say if it's in the contract, stick to the rules. If you're changing it, then, you know, yeah, it's unfair. D, just moving on, though, I did want to get your thoughts on, I don't know if you saw the Chisora Parker fight on the weekend.
No, Coach, I was actually working, so I didn't get the pleasure of seeing it, but I was listening to it on the radio. Yeah. That's definitely as I was working, so it's definitely not the same as watching. Yeah. But the fight did go the way how I thought it would be, which was Parker getting the win. Yeah. I need to see the fight. I've looked on YouTube, but I don't really like the way how people record the fight. You know what I mean? I need to see it properly. Yeah. So I need to still see that fight. I mean, Parker getting the decision. A lot of people saying Chisora should have won. I've still got to see the fight, but the result was how I thought it was going to be. Right. Parker getting there on points, and yeah, the fight went exactly how I thought it would go. Yeah. With Chisora starting really fast. If there's a rematch, which I think Chisora wants, I think it will go the same way. I'm afraid.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. No, nice. Appreciate your comments as always. Appreciate the support as always. We're going to leave you to it and move on to the next caller. But thanks again as usual, bro. Take care.
Thanks, bro.
Guys, God bless you all. Have a great night.
Same to you. Cheers. Take care.
Thanks, bro.
We're going to move on to 783. 783. Hey, what's up?
What's up, my bros?
What's going on, big? What's going on? Is that MK?
Yeah.
Yes, what's going on? We got you, man. Have you come to Bully Sam? Yeah, we can hear you, bro. We can hear you. What's your thoughts, bro? Talk to us about Billy Joe Saunders versus Canelo. Is he complaining?
I'm hearing all this madness about the ring size and all these things, but at the end of the day, when you're the B side, you can't negotiate these stuff. That's just how it goes. Like when you're the B side, you can't be making all these demands.
Yeah.
Where in boxing have you ever seen that?
100%.
Have you ever seen it? I'm trying to say, obviously, the standard ring is 20 foot, isn't it? So he wants something which is different to the convention, to the standard. But for me, it's like, why do you want a 22 foot ring? Obviously, he wants to box a bit more and all these things. But listen, all these things are intricacies. Like, if you're fit, you're fit, bro. If you can box, you can box. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, all these things is just obviously, I think Fury done something like that. I think was it Fury versus Klitschko when they tried to do the mad thing to the ring and
he did
things, but
the padding.
I just think they're reading into it too much. Like, bro, if you can beat the guy, you can beat him, innit? What's all this about 22 foot or 24 foot? But the 20 foot ring is a big ring.
Yeah.
Still, and you lot ain't heavyweights, you lot are middleweights. You just use that ring. You know what I'm trying to say? And then I see the Chisora fight. I just think, I think Chisora can be has the potential to be a way better fighter. I think his temperament and his composure lets him down. Like when you see the Chisora that fought Takam and how he was just steady, and picked his shots more. I think if he done that, it would have beat Parker. But it's like sometimes it's not educated pressure when you're looking at the Chisora. It's just like, I'm going to move this guy down. Alright, cool. Now I'm going to take a break. Okay, cool. Now I'm going to go on auto drive. You can't really see the sense of what he's doing. You can't look at a Chisora fight and go, right, oh, okay, he's trying to set up this or set up that. You don't set up anything. You just think, I'm a tractor and I'm going to run over you. And sometimes it happens and sometimes it doesn't work in his favor.
Yeah, no, there's some great points actually. I think in terms of the Canelo, the Chisora Parker, I think, personally, I have to say, like I could see the closeness of the fight. I didn't think it was a controversial fight, but I agree with you in terms of your style when it comes to Chisora. And I also feel like his antics, he's sometimes down on the cards before the fight starts. I mean, this whole pulling out, getting your mum to call in, or it just doesn't look good for him. And I felt he slows down. There's too many chances in the fight where he's not doing anything.
I think Chisora, sorry to cut you, my bro. I think Chisora, he's got bad branding. He comes across as a brat.
Yeah.
By the time he's even got in the ring, he's not thinking, bro, what, this guy's a dickhead. Well, if anything, sorry.
Yeah, that's fine, bro. Go ahead.
Every round that's close, listen, there's no such thing as unbiased. Every human is biased.
Exactly.
If it's a close round, and in the back of their head they've got that thought, this guy was kicking up a fuss before the fight.
Yeah.
Joseph Parker's a little gentleman. I'll just give him the nod.
Yeah.
You get what I'm trying to say?
Exactly.
Like, hear it, bro. Preach.
His branding is bad. Like the way he brands himself. Obviously, I know he wants to be their villain, but you can be the villain in a professional way.
Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say?
Exactly.
At the end of the day, why are they going to favor Chisora to beat Joseph Parker when Chisora is at his career? Joseph Parker got maybe 2 or 3 years left. It makes sense for Joseph Parker to win for the money side of things.
Yeah.
Chisora's on the end of his career. The person I was impressed with the most was Craig. I was impressed with Craig Richards.
Yeah.
Because for me personally, Craig, he always upset. He's an upsetter. If you watch his whole career, he's always been the underdog.
Mm-hmm.
When he fought, and he always upset. Obviously, this time he didn't do it, but he proved his level. And like, I was speaking to him and I just said, listen, bro, like, don't let the UK's mediocrity make you feel like what you done was enough. Like, you proved that you're at that level, but bro, you need a world title because you're as good as these guys, bro.
Yeah.
Like, everyone's talking about, I'm so proud of Craig. Yeah, I am proud of him because he come from nothing. He's not a man with stellar amateur career.
Yeah. He
come up the hard way. I know how he's got up, he's had some late calls for fights. He's still taking the fight. Fought Buglioni, done these things, but don't let the spirit of mediocrity and at least you fought for a world title. It's like, nah, bro, win a world title. he fight before?
It was Shaq and Pitters. Even the Shaq and Pitters fight, he went over to Channel 5.
Yeah, bro.
Craig always upsets for us, bro.
Yeah.
So at first, to be honest with you, I thought, what? Bivol? I thought, Craig's going to get splattered. Then I thought, you know what? Let me look at Craig.
Yeah.
Every time he steps up or he's had that, you know, that type of fight, he's always upset the odds.
Yeah.
So coming up to the fight, before when it's on paper, I was like, the Bivol will beat him. But when it come up, you're thinking, actually, you know, Craig can win this fight, you know.
Yeah.
Craig can win this fight.
No, absolutely.
He's a very tricky operator, and I think everyone just needs to give him his dues, bro.
Yeah.
They need to give Craig his dues, and I know I think it was the week before, everyone needs to give Felix Cash his dues as well, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say? Like, I've done over 30 rounds with Felix Cash, like when I was coming up, whatever, yeah?
Yeah.
I always tell people, I don't know why Eddie don't push this guy. Well, I don't know why Eddie Hearn don't push Felix Cash. I don't know why. Maybe because he's a gypsy. I don't have a clue, bro. But I've sparred so many people. I've been Sheffield. I've been to all these places, bro. Felix Cash is up there with the best of them.
Yeah.
Like, he's up there, bro. So when people are like I'm just so surprised of how his career has gone further. Like, I don't understand.
No, absolutely.
Like, why ain't he at that level? It took him so long to get to British level, but he's a man that was basically behind Fowler. Fowler went to Olympics, he turned pro. And it's just, I don't know, maybe he's had some bad luck, but I think he's one to look out for. Obviously, Denzel's my proper guy, but I definitely think Felix Cash is one to look out for. And obviously, Denzel's just going to have to rebuild, and I think he can do that.
Absolutely.
You know, I think nowadays in boxing, when you lose, you're not going to
exactly.
end of your career.
But bro, listen, thank you very much for that, bro. We're gonna have to move on to the next caller, but I appreciate you calling in, support. Listen, we want to make sure before we go, and I've got. What's your prediction, Canelo versus Billy Joe Saunders?
I go Canelo points.
All right,
even if it's close, I'll give it to
Canelo. Canelo points, wicked man. So listen, hopefully next week we get you to call back in and hear whether your prediction was right. But thank you, brother.
Yes,
we'll move on to the next caller. 408. Hello, long Raps on TV. Yes, what's going on, Dean? You good?
I'm good, brother. What you say?
We're good, man. We're good, man. Very appreciate you calling in, bro. Long time.
I know. Just been busy. Even this evening, Zoom meetings, and then all of a sudden my phone's pinging off. I mean, what's going on? Sometimes watch the Zoom meeting, and I'm trying to look at my phone at the same time, and I'm saying, fights off.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, you know, what's going on? Obviously, there was talk yesterday. I saw his dad moaning about the ring and all of that. But yeah, I don't know what's going on, because obviously, literally, as soon as I've come off the Zoom meeting, I've called up, so I'm still trying to catch up. Is it definitely off, or?
Nah, I mean, truth be told, I don't think he's going to get called off. His dad's done an interview with IFL TV, so be sure to check that out. And he's following up from yesterday's thing about the ring size, but he's now saying today they're off. He's saying they're looking for flights to come back to UK. So if you believe anything, they're on Skyscanner and booking flights as we speak. But yeah, no. If you ask me, it's rubbish. They're saying they're not fighting. Let's see. They're accusing Eddie Hearn and Canelo of maybe going to draft in a last-minute opponent that's not worthy. Let's see. I mean, even as I'm on the show, I'm seeing text messages that apparently what's his name? What's the guy that beat Smith? That Smith just beat? Is it not Saunders? What's the guy that Smith won, but it was a controversial win?
Ryder.
Apparently, Ryder's on his way out to the States. Let's see. I mean, let's not forget. Could just be commentary. Who knows? But apparently, he's on his way. John Ryder is on his way out to the States. So, brother, I don't think. Yeah, I wouldn't want. I think this fight's going ahead.
Yeah.
Wouldn't surprise me either way, because Billy's unpredictable. If he thinks he's getting screwed over, I can imagine him just walking away from the fight. But then on the other hand, it wouldn't surprise me if it's mind game.
Yeah, exactly.
I think, I'm quite 50-50 on it, to be honest.
Yeah, and brother,
you know what?
No, I was going to say, I mean, just quickly on your thoughts, Chisora Parker, how did you see that fight play out?
I had Chisora winning. I had a 6-round defeat, but I thought obviously the knockdown in the first round just gave it to Chisora. But in saying that, with Del Boy, for me, if he came into that fight in the same shape he was for Usyk, he would have beaten Parker comfortably. Because Del Boy
Round one.
Round he was struggling.
No, he was breathing heavy, man. That.
If Parker was working, if he would have got rid of Del Boy.
Yeah.
6, 7 round, he would have got rid of him.
Yeah. No.
So that just shows me if Del Boy was in the same shape he was for Usyk, yeah, he would have beaten Parker. And if there's a rematch and he comes in good shape, I think he beats Parker.
Yeah. Yeah, no. I mean, I think it will be a very good fight. I mean, you know what it is, and with the rematch, I have to say, I think my worry for Chisora, because you spoke about it, was he's gassed. I felt he was gassed from the first round, so I'm surprised he even made it to 12. So him getting older, I don't know what his training regime is like, but I just feel like even a rematch, I feel will still be in Parker's favor, if I'm going to be honest with you, and maybe just a bit more convincingly, because I don't know what it is about Parker. He just doesn't look like he likes fighting, but. Yeah, I don't know. Chisora, I think he's a good gatekeeper, and he's done well to keep getting pay-per-views. I'll say that much for him.
You see the thing with Del Boy and the age he's at now. He's an old 37-year-old, so
yeah,
he's gonna see him in the ring one day, and we're just gonna see him get old overnight. That's what it is.
Yeah,
he's gonna get clapped out, and it could be a rematch with Parker. It could be get past Parker, fight someone else, get slapped out. He'll turn up, and then he will look old. He'll start to look his age.
Definitely.
Whether it's the next fight or the one after that, to be honest.
Absolutely. But bro, listen, we got to ram in these calls before we finish the show. So before we go, what's your prediction for Canelo versus Saunders? Should it take place?
Canelo to win by stoppage, probably between 8 and 10.
Oh, the first.
Billy Joe at 1 to 10.
Nice. We're getting some KO predictions. That's what we want to hear, brother. Thank you for calling in as always. Appreciate the support. Take care, bro. Speak soon. Cheers, bro. We're going out to 660. 660. The floor is yours.
Hello. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Who's calling?
Big up, wait, man. Big up. It's Talk to Butch. Just confirming.
Yes.
It's Talk to Butch. It's Butch here, wait.
How you doing, brother? Good to hear your voice, man. Thank you for commenting today and what's your thoughts?
Honestly, first and foremost, I've got to say big up to you guys, man, because I recently subscribed to you guys and came across you guys on YouTube.
Nice.
And honestly, this is like the first channel that I've come across that gives fans the kind of platform that you guys are giving fans to share their thoughts and stuff. So
no, I appreciate that.
Thanks, bro. Subscribe and whatnot. I'm gonna make sure I'm a mainstay on the channel, man. So you're gonna definitely hear and see more from me, man. Big up you lot.
No, love, appreciate that, brother. Thank you very much. So talk to us, bro. What's your thoughts then on the Canelo? We've seen some of your points, but what else did you want to say on that fight?
Yeah, man. Really, it's really just to reiterate some of the points that I made previously about you know, where I stand with both Billy Joe and Canelo. I do think the fight is still going to go ahead, just of course with the contractual obligations and just the amount of money that is in the fight and where we're at in terms of how long there is left until the fight. In terms of my prediction, I've got it Canelo on points, and I think it's either going to be unanimous decision or marginal decision. And actually, what I was saying prior to obviously fight week and in the build up to everything was what Billy Joe Saunders needed to do was just go back and watch tape of Canelo versus Eric Lara, because obviously it's been well documented. We know that Canelo has struggled with fighters that use a lot of lateral movement and use the ring well, and of course that's part of the reason why he's so adamant that the size of the ring is smaller, so it's easier for him to cut off the ring. And what I kept on saying was that all Billy Joe Saunders needs to do is watch that fight and emulate exactly what Eric Lara did. Yeah. But that being said, that basically is Billy Joe Saunders' greatest chance of a win against Canelo. But we saw that doing that for Eric Lara, still he wasn't able to get the decision on a judge's scorecard.
Yes.
So whilst it's Billy Joe Saunders' greatest opportunity to beat Canelo, I still ultimately feel like it's not going to be enough. And part of the reason is because when you saw that fight, Eric Lara, to me, was in impeccable shape. How he managed to stay on his bike and stay so disciplined and switched on for 12 rounds and move as much as he did, he was in tip-top shape. And to take some of the big shots that Canelo was throwing at him, that showed me that his conditioning was A1. Now, the problem is, going into this fight, my question is around the conditioning of Billy Joe Saunders. Now, although we've seen that he's come out on the biggest occasions and delivered when it really matters, I still have concerns and question marks around his conditioning, because I saw, like, before he went into camp, he posted something on Instagram. He was posting his weight. I'm thinking, this is like the biggest fight of your career, and you're coming into camp at this weight. Like, that means that it's definitely going to be a fat loss camp for you, basically, where where so much of your camp is going to be focused on weight loss and not so much on your strategy. And so for me, I don't know. Even though he's going to be in great condition, will he be in a similar condition to what we saw Ruiz Lara go into the fight with Canelo? I don't know. Yeah. And I'm not sure he's going to be able to keep up in terms of that level of fitness and conditioning throughout the whole fight, and that level of concentration as well, because it's obviously difficult to keep your concentration when you're getting fatigued and you're getting tired in those latter rounds. You know, is he going to be able to keep up that movement and stay sharp and have his defense on point, or is he going to start getting hit with big shots later on in the fight? And I think those are the question marks that I have around Billy Joe Saunders in this fight. And I think ultimately that's the reason why I can't see him managing to overthrow Canelo. Of course, Canelo is in the prime of his career, and one thing that is absolutely key as well is that he stays active. He is so clever because when even now that there's already plans of him potentially fighting Taylor Plant at the end of the year. Yeah. He's smart because he's fought in December, he's fought in Feb, he's fighting in May, and then potentially fighting in December. His opponents won't take a tune-up fight or risk anything to impact a potential fight against him, and so that means that they're having longer layoffs. Yeah. So Caleb Plant, by the time they get in the ring, he would have been out of the ring for near enough a year or so, right? Yeah. Well, Canelo's fought 2 times prior in that same year, and I think that's another thing to factor on here is that we already know that it's difficult to beat Canelo on the cards, even more so because he's the cash cow. They're already planning the next step, the undisputed showdown against Caleb Plant in December or whatever. So it makes it that much more difficult for Billy Joe to get a decision, and I just can't see it happening ultimately, man. I just think, Canelo's just going to have a bit too much for him. He's going to have the flashy punches, the ones that are going to make the crowd make all the noise and whatnot, and I think Billy Joe Saunders is I just question how fit he's going to be to go the stretch.
No problem. Listen, talk to Bridge. Really appreciate your comments there. I think you made some great points. I think a lot of points that have been echoed throughout today's show. So looking forward to it. Please, again, as you said, you've subscribed to the channel. Look out for future shows. We've got past shows where we've had interviews with Keith Thurman, Wilder, Okoli, Boatsi, Otto Wallin. So please do check out our history of shows. And we may try and do a live watch along for that fight for those that are going to be up. So really pleasure meeting you. Love the support, and thank you again. So take care.
Wait, man, 100%, man. You got a fan in me, 100% now, man. I'm tuned in, wait.
Perfect. Thank you very much, man. Appreciate that, man. Appreciate that. Take care. Moving on to 252. 252. Hey, what's going on?
What's happening? Ring rat, son?
Yes, ring rat.
What's happening, bro?
What's going on, guys?
We're good, brother. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Lively show, lively week. It's all on, isn't it? It's all on.
I'm telling you.
Yeah. Bro, talk to me, man. What do you make of the whole BJS saga and how he's trying to pull out and whatnot? I know you got your opinions and you got that analysis on the pre-match build-up.
Well, look, reading between the lines, when you watch so many of the content interviews and stuff, it seems like he was already ticked off, Billy, that is, with Eddie, thinking he was leaning some favouritism towards Team Canelo. But it seemed like this was already prearranged and agreed. The size of the ring would be no less than 22 feet or something. So I gone over old ground what everyone just said about when you're the B-side. I heard a lot of B-side, A-side, B-side. I thought I was listening to old TDK tape. But, but we never used to really talk about this B-side thing, A-side thing before the Mayweather phenomenon. Can we just kind of take Floyd's chapter of boxing and put it in the 2010s where it belongs? Like, all of this, you know, your career's done after you look. Forget all that, because Tiafimo rewrote the script to take over. It's a new movement, a new page. So, yes, man are saying, these small details aren't that big a thing. But correct me if I'm wrong, in any line of sport or any kind of achievement in life, the smallest margins make all the difference, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong. When I used to care about football, I'm a Chelsea fan. The ghost goal that knocked Chelsea out of the Champions League, that wasn't a goal. It was proved later with goal line take, it wouldn't have stood. Do you see where I'm coming from? The 1966 goal, it wouldn't have stood the England goal. The Frank Lampard goal, do you see where I'm coming from? So don't tell me those fine margins when a man like Djokovic aces, man, and it's a millimetre in and Hawkeye told you it's out. You see where I'm coming from? So don't tell me the small margins don't make a difference, because all due respect, and you've had some good guests on, but they're not in the ring on Saturday. So let's just check it there. Let's just check that. Let's not poo-poo the small details, because you see that small print in contracts, that's the stuff that has you up.
Yeah.
So let's keep it real. You know, in your prenup or you're getting married, like, that small print's important. So that's what I'm saying.
And but to that point, though,
forget all the hype. Like, the small details are important.
Yeah, and I agree with you. So that's my thing. So whose fault is it that the size of the ring is not in the contract when the small details matter and your game plan is kind of based on it? Who should have ensured that size of the ring?
You know what it is, man. You know how it is, man. Eddie's the finesse, man. You know how it is. Look, you know, I explained to one of my boys yesterday, right? I was like, look, it's like you've got two groups of friends coming to a house party, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
And it's known that some of the friends of these friends don't get on. So I'll talk to you two. I say, boom, you can bring your boys. No, but you don't get, you're not bringing that guy. No, I'm not bringing him. All right, you definitely not bring. You talk to the other guy. No, you're not bringing him. You're bringing your boys. Yeah, cool. Then everyone turns up. I just finessed it between you. That's all it is. Eddie just greased the wheels. It's the biggest fight of the year so far. Like, he was going to say or do whatever he had to say or do to get over the line. Let's keep it real.
Yeah, I agree with you, but again, I would say if they're saying they're not fighting because if it's not in the contract and they're now saying the size of the ring is an issue, my thing is it should have been in the contract then. I get what you're saying about Eddie.
You are half right, but you know these things, it's all about nuances, and you know when there's a lot of handshake agreements coming down, and there's a lot of goodwill and kind of like integrity on the line. Mm-hmm. Like Eddie's the top boy in the game, so if Eddie's saying something's going to happen, you kind of give him the benefit of the doubt it's going to happen.
Fair play.
But then obviously it gets technical when you've got to go to B, C, D, and F parties and get that all smoothed out. Obviously, it didn't get smoothed out. But no, he ain't listen. Last thing I'll say is, like, no way can he pull out on this. Not because he can't, he can. But Billy's an intelligent guy. Like, he might be a bit of a maverick. He might be a bit reckless sometimes, but he's not an idiot. Like, this is the biggest fight on the calendar today. Yeah. So I'm not buying the hype. The fight's on.
The fight's on.
Let's keep it real.
Yeah. Agreed, bro. Listen, before we go, before we let you go, we've got to say, please shout out your channel. Let the viewers know where they can find your content on YouTube and Instagram. It's been a minute since we spoke.
Yeah, man. I don't know if you saw. I just dropped a collabo with Boxing Social, a fight freestyle, like animation freestyle for it dropped about 2 hours ago for this week. So it's Ring Raps 1 on Insta, and it's on Boxing Social as well. You guys, I forwarded that to you. You'll find it funny, man. It's all about. Weirdly enough, I vocaled it a month ago, but it just kind of fell perfect for this week. Yeah. Can I just say one thing about Chisora Parker?
Yes. Yeah. Of course.
Yeah. Cool. Shoot, bro.
Chisora. I mean, I'm gonna try and be fair here, man. I thought the fight was, all in all, lackluster. Yeah. Chisora is his age. But Parker's 8 years younger. I'm a big Joseph Parker fan, right? I'm gonna keep it real. Like, Joseph Parker's disappointed me a couple of times now. Yeah. Delbo's there for the taking. I don't forget the knockdown, because Parker's got the best chin in the heavyweight division for me. Apart from Joe Joyce and Tyson Fury, he's got the best chin. No one ain't knocking him out unless you. Maybe Joe Joyce or Wild if they lamped him a few times in a row, maybe. But I don't know what's going on with Joe Parker, man. Like he has lapses, but like forget what Chisora did or didn't do before or in the fight. Like Chisora is Chisora. Head down, swinging, work rate, war horse. We know what it is. So Parker had him hurt at least twice, right?
Yeah.
And when he let his hands go, he looked good, right? So I saw a couple rounds, I don't know if it was 7, 8, 9 or 10, but a couple of those rounds, he had him hurt at the beginning and the end of the round. In the middle of the round, 1.5, 2 minutes, he was missing. And then they're hugging each other. Derek's trying to land haymakers, and I'm like, this kind of dead. Like I'll be honest. Listen, on paper, they got honor when they got honor. Respect to Andy Lee shaking Derek's hand, saying we'll give you a rematch. And Joseph Parker's a gentleman, as you said, and Derek's a warrior. We know all of that. I don't need to see the rematch. Yeah. Dead. I'll be real. It's dead. I don't need to see the rematch. It's dead. Do you know what the funny thing was? I watched Arreola Ruiz the next day, and the parallels between them was eerie. Yeah, dead. In the sense of an old fighter, but that fight was better, by the way. There was more action. There was more stinging shots in that fight. Like, Parker landed a few combos, Ruiz landed more. Obviously, Ruiz got hurt a couple times, but it's weird. Like Arreola and Chisora, both guys need an exit door, yeah? Both guys fuming post-fight with a judge gaps on the cards, yeah? It was weird. Did you see Arreola's run? Yeah. He made Derek look like a flipping Derek look like James Bond, bro. So my thing is this. Obviously, it's never going to happen because of networks, irrelevant. Bro, Parker Ruiz was a tight fight. Make them guys fight again. Make them guys fight again and make Arreola and Chisora fight.
To be fair, I mean, it's not a bad shot, but you are right. I mean, both fights were very, very poor, lackluster. I mean, I'll kid you not, I stayed up for the Ruiz fight, and even after the second round knockdown, even after the second round knockdown, bro, I fell asleep. Like, I fell asleep, and then I was like, you're not wrong, though. Trust me. Who had a bad boy knockout on the undercard? Was it my man who we were just talking about? Lara. Yeah, Lara. That was spicy. It was a weird venue, like outside. It looked good in that, but did you see there was a mad brawl afterwards? Bro, that was so. You know the Lara fight. So just I don't know what they did, but Lara was in one location and the Ruiz was in a different location. But yeah, there was a mad brawl inside. Because it looked weird on social media. Yeah. That don't look like the same back, right? Okay, so they done a little sync up on the network. Yeah, exactly. Do you know, can I just say something? The fight of the night for me was the ladies. By a mile. Yeah. By a mile for me. I'll keep it real. Those last 6 rounds, war. I know it's 2 minute rounds, but it is what it is. Listen, Katie said, I don't know how many times she can keep going to the well. Things like that. Because those 2% fights were nasty. And I actually just had a little war with Tasha. Jonas done a thing, little bit static, where she could have done a bit more. Little bit. I'm being super critical though. Great fight. And the last thing I want to say, what is it? I'll highlight the elephant in the room, obviously, those people that spoke about Richards tonight, well done to Richards. And the other guy who's a boxer, he's spot on, by the way. Do not settle for being in the ring with Bivol. He's bang on for that, by the way. But can I just say, why was everything on Chris Eubank? Yeah, I think... Am I the only person who appreciated him taking the round? I don't know. The guys had 4 minutes of boxing in 2 of the years. This is what I was saying to people, and I mean, even I'm glad you said the 4 minutes, because everyone's saying, 2 years, 2019. I'm saying to people, forget that 2019 fight, because he didn't even fight. That's the second shoulder he's bust, by the way. The shoulder and coronal shoulder. He's a shoulder bust, so that should be a 2 days. But you know what I think it was? I think people didn't appreciate his Roy Jones-esque mimic punches, and bro, I'll keep it real. For a minute, when you saw those hands down in the shoulder doing the mad resets, I was like, is he trying to be Jones? Listen, Roy was mad happy with it. Listen, for me, you gotta keep yourself happy. Like it's kind of like happy wife, happy life, but happy trainer, happy camp. You know what I'm trying to say? So absolutely. You know what? You're Chris Eubank, you've had enough criticism. So what? Just tell everyone to just hold it down.
he's probably going to fight Kel. But I'll be real, man. I'll give Chris Eubank. I'm letting him reset it for me. The page is clean for me. I'm letting him come again. Roy Jones Jr. It's exciting. I'm not hating. Like, it's too easy to hate. Like, chill out a minute, man. Like, everyone's just jumping. I don't know what it is.
Oh, absolutely, bro. There you go. We did it. What's your prediction, Canelo? Just say the name. Just say the name.
You know what? I'm going to say this.
Yeah.
The fight is going to go to the 12th round. That's what I'm going to say.
Yeah, we know that. So, yeah.
I'm saying Canelo's going to knock him out. No way is Canelo knocking him out.
Right.
No way.
So so does that mean? So you're picking for? Can I say it? An upset? You could see a slight upset here.
I could see an upset, but I'll be honest. Whatever happens, I think like Parker Chisora, I think it's going to be a split decision.
All right. So listen, Ring, it's been great catching up with you. Thank you very much as always. Show love, support. We're going to look out for that collaboration in social. But thank you as always for calling in, brother. Thank you.
Respect, man.
Respect. Before we go to the last caller, in fact, let me just quickly do the last caller, then I'll do the comments. It's an anonymous caller, so you're going to have to let us know your passport identity and everything. Hello.
Hello.
Yes. Hello.
Listen, I just want to say it's still good on the line. Okay, big up to every boxing daughters.
Yes.
Big up Rex on TV. You know, it's been a great show.
Thank you. What's your name, brother?
I just want to be quick. You know.
Yeah.
Eubank won't have to with me. Don't worry about that. Okay. And just one more thing while I'm here. You know, this thing with Billy Joe. You know.
Yeah.
He will fight on Saturday. Believe me. You know. He will definitely fight on Saturday. He's got too much of his own money. You know, to be even worried about that. So he'll be in there Saturday night. How do
you see that fight going? Who wins?
I've got to say my stable mate Billy Joe, you know. He's fast style, but he's unorthodox, you know. And believe me, he becomes, you know, one of the British greats on Saturday night.
Yeah. And what's your name?
It's Cal Brookmore, and I've got to say, we got Rats on Tuesday, we got the heavy boxing dosage. I've got to put the brownies in the oven, boys, so I'll speak to you. Thank you very much.
There you go. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. We had Kel Brook, the official Kel Brook in the building. Listen, let's quickly go to some of the comments before we wrap it up, guys, with the other boxing news. So we had Players and Ballers who says, BGS ducked Jacobs, Benavidez, Triple G, Plant, Android 3 times. Charlo, he is cashing out and never believed he would beat Canelo ever. I don't agree with ducking, but I will say he does have a long history of fights being cancelled, which doesn't look good if you start totaling them up. His career is the way it is because of all the pulling out of fights, ducking drugs, and cornball actions out of the rings. Again, we welcome to your opinion, but I will say, you know, this type of move by Billy Joe Saunders is not going to see him liked by the public. So yeah, he's kind of causing himself a lot of issue. Unprofessional study says if 20 is the standard, then it's going ahead. Yeah, we're still trying to get that. I respectfully disagree. So Conrad Boxing just said, I respectfully disagree, players, but we've got to ask ourselves, why do we think BJ's got that X factor? Is it still from the Lemieux fight? I think that's a great point. It is from that Lemieux fight. I think that still lives in people's heads. Unprofessional studies are saying it's not all about who won the Chisora fight. It's about the Polish dude scorecard.
Wow.
Yes, go and check out sisters. Boxing Banks. They're saying that fight will never get called off. Yep, agree with you, sisters. Yep. That fight will not get called off. Players and Ballers is going back with Conrad, so I'll let those guys have their chat. He's saying deceiver and cheat like his best mate Fury. Okay, no comment from myself. Conrad Boxing, great points on Parker there. Yeah, I have to say, I think that was some great comments from Ring Raps. And Raf Phoenix, big up Raf Phoenix in the chat, saying BGS is the man. Raf, how is that fight going this weekend? Is it going ahead? And if it is going ahead, can Billy Joe Saunders get the win? Guys, before we wrap up, because we have gone a little bit over, but before we do wrap up, I just wanted to say, yeah, we've got to speak about Craig Richards. I mean, I would definitely say he should have accepted mediocrity, but I feel like, yeah, he should be trying to challenge more at this world level, because for me, like, I felt you could see the lack of, you know, probably amateur fundamentals probably is what held him back. But Bivol, whilst he had great foot movement and at times he put his hands together well, he didn't look amazing. I don't know what you guys.
Craig should believe in himself more, man. I was just like, I was screaming at the TV, like, bro, don't let him feel that you're privileged to be in there. You earned that spot, man.
Yeah.
Fuck him up.
100%.
That's what we were feeling. I was literally, because Craig's a big fan of raps. Like, we support Craig and we've seen his growth. So it's like, I feel like everyone in Britain was supporting him and screaming at the TV, man. Like, everyone was like, even towards the end of the rounds, towards the end of the fights, towards the end of the round, I felt like if he fought like that for the first 6, he would have fucked up Bivol's flow. He would have completely screwed it up. I felt like Bivol would have been like, shit, I'm in for a fight with a tough guy, man. That's what I really would have thought. But then he just allowed Bivol to get into his flow. And ultimately that caused a unanimous victory. But, you know, Craig will come again, man. I think he's put the light heavyweight scene on notice. I feel like a lot of the British guys can't really touch him right now. I feel like Dan Aziz and above that, as much as we love Dan Aziz, I feel like Craig Richards is that level above him now. And I feel like it's generally upwards and onwards. I feel like it's generally upwards and onwards for him, man. I really feel he's put the world scene on, and he's ready to really be that kind of like barrier towards top level, if not catching one of those.
Sam. I agree with you as well. Like, I thought if he had started earlier, maybe be not too respectful of Bivol, then I think we could have had a very close decision, you know? It could have gone either way.
Yeah.
But that was the issue. He started a bit too late, man. That's the only issue. Otherwise, all credit to him, man. He showed why he was world class. You know?
Absolutely. And we've got Talk to Bud saying Craig Richards did very well. Should definitely stay at this level. But I think the ring rust was definitely evident in Bivol's performance. He needs to stay active. I agree with you. I think Bivol, maybe the ring rust played its part. But the other thing I would say, Talk to Bridge, is that when you look at Bivol, for some reason, he's not getting the knockouts anymore. And even last week, I'd said you wouldn't have seen it, but I felt like this whole aura he's got as being a knockout artist, I think it's not there. I think he's definitely got to stay active, and he's definitely got to be in big fights in that division.
What's going to take him up, bro? I thought our guy JB's going to take him up, man.
Right.
I thought that's enough sign for JB to be like, it's just business, man. Take it.
On that, I mean, his fight's been announced today. He's taking on Dos Santos.
Oh, wow.
He's a French guy. For those of you, I'm going to try and get the video on our channel, so keep a lookout for the video on our channel. This Dos Santos is kind of coming out of nowhere. His record seems a bit patterned, but it seems also not bad in terms of, I think he's 15-0. So again, good management from Wax's team there. That fight takes place in a couple of weeks. So yeah, looking forward to it. Moving on, guys, I did want to talk about this fella here, Sonny Edwards, taking on the great African Mtlani last Friday, winning his first IBF title. What did you make of that fight, gents?
Well, he's sick, man. He's sick. He's actually slick. I can't even come for him. No one can come for him no more. He can talk the way he talks. The way he fought, I was like, really? Shit. Like, because I remember back in the day when I'm up with Lyndon Arthur one time, he was like, nah, Sonny is a bad man. Like, literally said, Sonny is a bad man. In a Manny accent, like, proper about it. But he proved it, man. I'm really happy for him, and onwards and upwards from there, man. Just pretty much say to that.
Absolutely. And Zayn, I'm going to come to you first. Taylor versus Jonas. I mean, what do you think of that fight? We saw the two women go kind of toe-to-toe for over 10 rounds.
I mean, it was a close fight, you know. There was a few rounds where that could have gone either way, guys. But I feel that Taylor started off better as well. So I slightly edged the fight to her, but there wasn't much in it, man.
Yeah. Sam?
No, Jonas shows she could be there, man. She shows she's not just a pretty presenter on the zone. She shows she's about it, man. But really happy for her. I think Jonas put herself out. But I also feel, not that Katie Taylor is overrated, but I feel that people give her too much respect. I think she showed that, you know, she's got flaws like every other fighter. Because before people were saying she's leading women's boxing and whatnot, and I'm like, yeah, she's great. I mean, she's very aggressive. Her style was very attractive to watch, and I think it's good for women's boxing. But you know, Jonas came at it, and I do agree with ring wraps when she was a bit static. I felt that was the kind of decider. And Katie and her not getting really up for it in the first few rounds. But look, it's a learning curve from her. Onwards and upwards for Jonas as well, man. I think I wouldn't mind seeing a rematch on AJ Fury undercard in Saudi.
That'll be good.
I think you both hit the nail on the head there. And I think, you know, I did just give it to Taylor, but there was a point probably from the eighth round I had Jonas up. I felt she started slow, then she got into it. She had the momentum, and I felt the last two rounds, Taylor just done the more busier work. If you remember, what Jonas was doing was she was up against the ropes and she was allowing herself. She was, in fact, I'll say she was getting hit by the combinations Taylor was throwing. So Taylor was able to throw like 5-6 shots. She did that about 4 or 5 times in the round, and I felt, that would, if you're looking at it objectively, you're going to say the judges will give it to her because she is the kind of darling of women's boxing. But I agree with you. I think Taylor looks like she's going to get beat. If I'm being real with you, Taylor's going to get beaten. And I think she's going to get stopped because her stamina just seems to just really go empty. And then fair play, last 2 rounds, she brought it up. But I just felt like a fighter maybe a bit more younger, a bit more maybe athletic than Jonas, with her type of skill set, a bit more pop in her punch. Because don't forget, Jonas had to come up in weight. I think somebody's going to take her out. I like Taylor. I think she's a good fighter to watch as well. But when she's tired, she's tired. But yeah, no, that was it. Overall, it made for a good weekend of boxing. We spoke about Ruiz, Lara. So yeah, bro, this weekend, guys, before we move on and close the show, once again, I've got to say to those listening in the present, the future, or the past, please remember to hit that like button, subscribe and share, and get that notification ticking for future shows. Guys, I'm going to come to you, Sam, first. Prediction for Canelo versus Billy Joe Saunders.
Canelo stoppage, round 9.
Canelo KO 9. And Zane.
Yeah.
What are we saying, bro?
Obviously, bro. Look, we got the Canelo top there already.
Oh snap!
You know what I'm saying?
That's the fresh
I don't know if you can see it. We're there, bro. Team Canelo all day. But I'd say, look, all due respect, Billy Joe Saunders is a great fighter. Is a great boxer, very smart in there, savvy. I think there's gonna be a way where he sees that he's in far too deep here. He's never been in there with someone like Canelo. I know he's slick and that he's gonna give a few problems for a few rounds, but that's about it, man. I see it going to the scorecards, but Canelo winning a convincing decision.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to say.
Yeah,
but he's going to stay in there because of his slickness and his ability to, take like the full throttle of the shot. What I mean by that is his movement. But I feel Canelo's going to just land the eye-catching shots, and he's going to take over. So that's why I'm saying Canelo by decision. But yeah, man, what's your thoughts, Sam?
Sam,
Kojo.
Yeah. So Sam. So Canelo decision. It came to me. I'm not going to sit on the fence here. I'm going with Canelo. I'm banking him to win on points. I think Billy Joe will make it to the end of the fight. I think he will get to the 12th round. I do think whilst he's got some tools to be able to upset Canelo, I just think, there's a lot to ask. You're talking about Canelo, who's gone in with some really tough, big power punches and not really looked phased, not been knocked down. We've not seen power from Canelo and from Billy Joe Saunders yet. I expect him to be evasive. This whole ring thing kind of plays into that. However, I think he's got the skills, he's got the lateral movement to be able to evade a lot of Canelo's shots, but not enough. And I think Canelo now is also fighting where he's not just worried about, knocking you out per se. He just wants to touch your body. So he's just going to be fighting, even if you're with a high guard, he's punching your forearm, he's punching your biceps. This will take its toll. And the activity, I think, he stays so active, he stays so fit. I think, Zayn, you might have mentioned this when we spoke yesterday, or he was saying, live the life. And I think that's the key thing.
100%, bro.
Canelo's kind of lived the life a lot longer, whereas Billy Joe Saunders, you kind of question, he's getting into great shape for this fight, but he's needed to have been in shape for a good year. So someone like Caleb Grant is someone that stays active. Charlo stays active. I think those make the difference when we're talking about detail. So I think that's an important detail to keep in mind. But yeah, I'm going with Canelo. I don't think I did think he would stop him, but I don't think he will. I think he will go 12 rounds.
Yeah, 100%.
Perfect. So listen, guys, before we close off, it's been a great show as usual, Sam. A pleasure as always. Zane's perfect having you on. Zane's Heavy Boxing Dosage. Let people know where they can find you, bro. Let them know all the platforms.
Yeah, appreciate that, man. You can catch me at Zane's Heavy Boxing Dosage on YouTube, on Instagram, That's where I'm at. But before I'd like to say anything else, big up Raps on TV, man. They're bringing you nothing but the best boxing content. You guys are really doing your thing, so keep it up, man. Make sure you follow them, Sam and Kojo. They're great guys, man. So keep up the work, lads. I love it.
Yeah, appreciate that, Zayn. No, I appreciate you coming in. Great topics as well, guys. Let me know what you think, Zayn, Sam. I'm thinking maybe Saturday, early Sunday morning, we do a live watch along. If we can sync the stream along together. Why don't we?
100%, man. Definitely, man. A lot of fans will be tuning in, so it'll be good to get everyone in, man.
Yeah, let's do that then. So
yeah, man.
Sorry, guys, to drive through. But guys, pleasure as always. Remember to go and subscribe to Zayn's Heavy Boxing Dosage Instagram, YouTube channel. He's always talking good content, and he's a great supporter of the show. And our man Sam Raps on TV. Go and follow him on Insta. He's part of the team. And look forward to talking more boxing this week, and look forward to at least the weigh-in. Let's just hope we get the weigh-in. Let's hope we get this weigh-in. But yeah,
big exciting, man.
As always, man. Top tier Budge. Pleasure meeting you as well. Thank you, guys. Listen, we're gonna be out. Peace.